Hey guys, Andrew here from Accelerate Off-Grid Touring, and today we're here to talk about connectivity. So some of you may know, I've just done 2 years almost traveling Australia, 3 kids and running a business remotely. And if there's one thing that was like the number one thing, and that was for us having a Starlink. So we ran a Starlink while stopping. It was helping us with homeschooling, running a business remotely, and keeping up with Insta. So we've just done a flat mount fit out on this Austrack Gibb, which is funnily enough because yeah, you definitely need one on the Gibb. And yeah, this is the Gen 3, and we've found the Gen 3. We had the Gen 2 until somebody ran over it in Townsville, and then we got a Gen 3. The Gen 3 router is way better. You get a much larger field. With the Gen 2, there's no way you could have the router in your caravan while you're driving and have connectivity in the truck in the front. We had the Isuzu truck. With the Gen 3, no problems at all. It was like you get good radius. And it got to the point where when we were traveling, the families that were with us that didn't have Starlink would just hook onto our Wi-Fi and off they'd go. All right, so when you like to do these Starlink installs, obviously there's so many different ways. So some people want to flat mount that on the roof. Me personally, I liked it where I could have it on the roof, but I could also have it out from sort of away from the van when we're under the trees, so I had a long lead. So what we recommend people do is just buy the Starlink yourself. There's so many sales and it's so fluid with Starlink themselves, sort of just get that yourself. But when it comes to mounts and power supplies, depending on which Starlink, now there's the Mini, we can either supply it for you or advise you on which one's the one to get and which we've found the best at the moment. It's such a ever-evolving space that I don't think it's even worth going into what's available in this video, because next week somebody's probably come out with something 10 times better in the mounts. The power supplies are staying pretty same, and as the Starlinks change, they're actually getting simpler. Gen 3 is way easier than Gen 2, and the Mini's way easier than Gen 3. So each evolution of Starlink, the power supplies situation is a lot easier. It's more for us getting a waterproof connection from outside to inside of the van and powering the router correctly. And so you get the range and you obviously get the longevity out of your batteries that you want, because the Starlink will use power. It's a constant draw whenever you've got it on. Unlike a fridge that cycles or anything else really, it is just constantly draining your batteries. It's only a small drain, but it's there, and as long as it's on, it never stops. So it's really good to have it sort of, I guess, wired as efficiently as you possibly can, and maybe beef up your battery system to suit, depending on what you've already got. So obviously that's where we come in, and we can do a really slick install, no water leaks, no corrosion issues, and give you whatever option you want. All right, so they want me to talk about how good the Starlink was for us. Like it's unreal. We're at the Sunshine Coast in Maroochydore. As far as I'm aware, the cable comes into just up the road for the internet for Australia. We use a Starlink on the roof here for anything we need fast. It's so much faster, and it's actually a lot slower. Here's a hot tip. If you're in a built up area, it's a lot slower than when you're remote. When you're out on the Gibb, it's crazy fast. And so whenever we wanted to upload anything and so on, we'd actually wait till we were a bit remote and away from town. The app is pretty good. If you've got any issues, you can just message them straight away and they get back to you the next day. I worked out after a while, because when we had our Gen 2 run over, that because it's America, you got to wait. They reply to you at night and then you respond during the day, and it's a bit of backwards and forwards, but the app's good for that. You can change your plan on the app. You can go from roam to permanent address. It's obviously more expensive on a roam plan. We ran a roam plan. I know people who didn't, but they get caught out when you move around too much. And I don't know what else to say. The app's just really good for checking your speed. We were getting up to 300 sometimes when we were remote. Clouds would slow it down as well, and definitely obstructions, so trees and leaves and so on were your enemy. And if it was a really thick storm, like we were up where we were at Columbaroo during the build-up, which is up there, and when you get the really thick clouds, it definitely interfered with Starlink. But for us, it was an absolute no-brainer. We sort of gave up on everything else. I was trying to run sort of G expanders. I sort of don't want to go, but the boosters we'll talk about, and honestly we just gave up with all of them, and just once we had Starlink, that was it. I always said we wouldn't have it full time when we were traveling because I didn't want the kids on devices, but I think us in the front, we just for the mapping and just always being able to phone calls, we could be so remote and you can call ahead to campsite, and there was just so many times we'd use it that it made our lives so much easier. So highly, highly, highly recommend. If you're traveling Australia, forget the sat phone, forget the boosters, just get a Starlink. All right, so they want me to talk about how hard it is. I treat stuff like shit. I really do. I am so bad. My Starlink's on the roof now. I should dig it down. It's still red from it. Last place it was Uluru, and then when we got to the workshop, I've literally just got it sitting on the roof. It had been run over. It hit so many footballs, soccer balls had hit it. I think it was literally fell off the front of my boat at one stage. I was sitting it on top of my boat and I forgot about it. It's fallen off the roof of the caravan. It blew off the roof. I could tell so many stories. That's a Gen 3. It was very indestructible. Mine's beat up and looks like a kid's scrapbook at the end of the year, and still going strong. There's scratches all over it. One thing that's really cool about it, to mount it, you can actually just throw a ratchet strap over it. Anything material works as long as you don't have the silver fleck, so a bit of a hot tip. Warranty, I think it's got a year warranty. We found them really good when we got ours driven over. They totally looked after us on new one. And then we also had a lot of cable issues with the Gen 2. And every time I'd just send them a message, they'd literally know where I was and could see that I was having problems with it, and they'd send me a new cable free of charge. Obviously everybody's experiences is different, but we had a really, really, really good experience with Starlink themselves. Once we moved to the Gen 3, the cables are like bulletproof, and I never had any sort of issues cable-wise at all. So yeah, it was really good there. I think I know that it's got a snow melt feature, and I know some people use that. We definitely don't go that cold, so I have not experienced it myself, but I know it's there. I do know it draws a lot of power on the snow melt feature, so it's a hot tip to turn it off if you're not going somewhere cold, because I think it does draw a lot of power on startup if you have the snow melt feature on. So thanks for watching. If you do want any advice or want one installed or any sort of flat mount sort of setups, give us a call. There's our compressor. YouTube thinks you should watch this up here, and if you want to watch any of our builds down here, and thanks for watching, guys.
Accelerate off-grid touring, powering your adventures.